Alright guys, welcome to today's video. Today I will be reviewing this red 1994 Acura Integra. I've been told that this thing has a couple of modifications. Not a whole lot though. It looks like it is lowered. I was told it's sitting on max speeding rods, coilovers. Can't really see in there, but still got a good enough gap. I'll pop over this hood. I heard there's a little bit of not engine work. Looks like we got a cold air intake, we got a strut bar, the energy cables, aftermarket oil cap, nothing too crazy. Yeah, nothing too crazy. It looks like got a pretty clean interior, completely stock. Looks like aftermarket push button start. I don't believe that there's nothing else really on this thing. It's very clean for what it is, being a 1994. Looks like we got a couple of rust spots, nothing too crazy. I mean, as you already see, we're already in the mountains. This thing's handling great. Sounds okay. I mean, it's completely stock exhaust and everything, so got a little bit of intake noise, I guess, from the air intake. Other than that, this thing is kind of a beaut. Either way, check out, we're going to be riding. This is kind of a update because I forgot to do an intro, but a couple weeks ago we took this thing through more mountain passes. You're going to see I'm with Colin and his Focus, and my buddy and his Civic. And yeah, this thing was handling very well. It feels still very good. And I hope you enjoy some of the footage from this car. I mean, this thing's incredible. This is a 1994 Acura Integra LS. As you can probably already see, the interior in this is in like perfect condition. The owner was a really nice guy. He, let me take this car, kept it in really great condition. He's an auto shop owner, so he kept it in pretty good shape, I'd say. The undercarriage basically has no rust, which you guys will see probably. Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be before this or after this, but this thing is super clean. 218,000 miles. Right now we're going through the Rocky Mountains up in Colorado. This thing, I mean, you can't really get much simpler than a 2,700-pound Honda going through the mountains or through any canyons. I'm hoping you guys can hear me over any wind or anything like that. This thing is just, oh dude, these cars, I love these cars so much. They're so much fun. Now, if you haven't figured out by now, this is my Integra. I bought this thing about 2 weeks ago, give or take. And since then, we put on the max speeding rods, coilovers, no-name control arms, an Airex air intake, no-name strut brace, and then all the, of course, necessary maintenance. Have the NGK spark plug wires, the Denso spark plugs, new rotor cap, OEM rotor cap, and obviously the oil change. And now she's running on 91 Premium, which I believe she was not before this. Some of you are asking, oh, why would you sell the Subaru and get an Integra? Well, You see, that's a simple answer. That Subaru. I wanted, since I was a little kid, I've played probably every single Need for Speed game that's come out since 2002, I'd say. Underground, Underground 2, Pro Street, Most Wanted, of course, the best one. And every single one that's been released since then. Unbound and Heat recently, Payback, even the bad Most Wanted that they did some years ago, and the not so fun Need for Speed Rivals. Like, I have hit probably every single one of those games, not to mention the Fast and the Furious came out in 2001 with, you know, all the racing, the race cars, the custom cars, including a 1994 Integra. I don't know if you know, if you watched it, you should know Ja Rule drove a red 94 Acura Integra. You know, he screams, "No, Monica! No, Monica!" Yeah, the owner, speaking of that, actually, before this, the previous owner told me that the name of this car, oh my god, okay. The previous owner told me that the name of this car is Monica. So naturally, being a Need for Speed fan, or not Need for Speed, sorry, a Fast and Furious fan, I'm holding on to that name and I'm adopting that name. Now, since then I've watched, that was the first, I think, car movie I ever watched when I was like, I think 2 years old. My love for cars and racing of cars has started at a very young age, and I fell in love with the Subaru platform when I watched a movie called Born to Race. Born to Race showed me an 04 STI built by SX Racing, and that movie was produced by SX Racing, actually. And I fell in love with that platform. It beating a Mustang GT, I was like, oh, I need to have one of those cars. So in high school, naturally, I bought my 2003 Subaru WRX. It was a Rally Blue. It was, that car was beautiful. It had a little bit of body damage, but you know, you can't expect to have a perfect car all the time. Unfortunately, we're not that lucky. Nobody hit me, please. Just in a little car. But yeah, so I bought that car, loved that, and then I always said, I was like, I have to have a 2004 STI. Like that's the dream. That's what was in the movie. That's what I have to have. So naturally I had the black one, which if you've been on the channel at all, you recognize that one. I disappeared about, what, a year ago, I think now, in the midst of building that car. And needless to say, I finished that car. It was, the motor was done, it was built, it was supposed to hold 600 horsepower, give or take. However, on first startup, cylinder 1 valve, exhaust valve, well, the exhaust cam, skipped about 10 teeth of timing. And that was on first start. Unfortunately, after that, I couldn't do it anymore. I'd owned that car for 5 years. I've rebuilt that motor 3 times, and this last time was supposed to be the last time before I sold it. And well, that's what I agreed to. That was the last build. So after that, I ended up pulling the motor again, and I sold the STI as a shell to an owner that's gonna actually tear it down and use the drivetrain for his 98 2.5 RS, which I was like, okay, that's worthy. It killed my heart a little bit, but it's all right. And all through the last 2 years, I have said to myself, I was like, I was gonna finish the Subaru, and I'm going to build a race car. I'm going to build a track car. It's gonna be a track car. And then that little phase where I got into drifting, which I think was the last video I posted. all the electronics work in this thing, so it's awesome. I remember where I was story-wise. We had to pull off for a second. But, pretty sure I was around the Subaru, yeah. So either way, yeah, built that Subaru, whatever. Sold to the guy for the drivetrain. Where am I running to? Yeah, so this Integra. I've been wanting to just build a track car the last couple years. That's where I was. The last couple years, I've been wanting to build a track car. That was the ultimate goal, other than that last video I posted of me drifting, which I've also really wanted to do. But I'm just blessed that I was able to do it. But this thing is going to be the ultimate track Integra that I can build. Well, I wouldn't say ultimate, but I'm trying to get into a grid life series first and foremost. Come 2026 is the goal. All next year, this one will be on mini open laps. I actually have one coming up in about a month from now, or 3 weeks. So this thing is going to be just a track car slash, well, I'm going to daily it a little bit, obviously, but this thing, it made the most sense. Honda platform, parts are easy, parts are cheap, and every video you watch, the Honda destroys the track. It's ultimate, other than a Miata, I would say. So that's kind of the plan with this thing. That's why I ran with it. I've always wanted an Integra, or at least some kind of Honda to track. And originally I was gonna just get an EK hatch. Then I was like, well, I feel like so many people have EK hatches. I mean, you saw my buddy in front of me has the 89 EF, which is also really awesome. Turboed, badass car. But just the essence of, let me backtrack a little bit, actually. So what happened was, I was planning on getting this EK for track. We went to the Slush Motorsports Festival this was it June, I think? In June. And I was watching these Civics just go lap for lap, and there was EK hatches there, but what I didn't see a lot of, surprisingly, was no Integras. And what really caught my eye was the pits across from us had 2 EK coupes with spoilers and stuff, which is really cool. And I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to have a crazy track setup, and I've always loved the Integra, the body of the Integra. I've always loved the way it looks, the way it sits, and it's basically still a Honda. I mean, it is still a Honda. But, so this thing will be getting worked on a lot hopefully this winter. I'm hoping to buy a lot of parts over the time. Right now I'm sitting on a whole lot of eBay stuff. A whole lot of no name, a whole lot of unknown. Just enough parts to get me through to the track event in October. So it's a good enough setup. Like it's on the coilovers. I mean, this thing handles pretty beautifully. Got to fix one problem with the sway bar. My new control arms kind of weren't pre-tapped, so I had to tap them, and it just became a whole issue. So I got to deal with that problem. But this car just makes the most sense. It's fun. It's a ripper. It handles 120 horsepower. I mean, what more can you possibly ask for? Well, 200, but it's all right. It's my car now, and I can finally chase the track dream that I've always wanted to chase. Now, am I expecting to ever go semi-professional, professional? No. It's still a goal. I would love to, but the likelihood of that happening is pretty slim. But I'm gonna do as much as I can. I'm gonna get into the Grid Life series. I'm hoping, or worst case scenario, I'll do Ultimate SCCA around. I'm hoping to do a lot of traveling as well. I mean, that's also the point. It'll be towing. Luckily, I still have the truck, so I'll be towing this car to the events. But ultimately, this is going to be just my all-time track car. I'm gonna try to have a track daily next year. Try not to cheap out too much Obviously it's hard. Living in Colorado is not cheap either. This thing, I'm happy with this purchase. Very happy with this purchase. That's funny. All right, so to wrap up, ow, something in my eye. To wrap up this car, I mean, it's handled ridiculously well through these little mountain roads. Even just being on control arms and coilovers, it's pretty incredible for being a car that you can get for under 5K. I mean, this isn't even a GSR. You can get a GSR for like 6 or 7 probably, at least in Colorado. That's from my understanding of the market. But yeah, this thing is handled super well. Ride super smooth. I mean, if it was on some slightly better tires, it'd probably be even better. But for less than 5K, you can't really complain for a fun little manual. There's a lot of bicyclists out. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you're as excited as I am about this car and to see where it goes in the next couple of years. And I think it'll be pretty exciting, and I hope you guys all enjoy the progress, and keep tuning in. See you later.